welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. This morning we're going calf hunting. Calf's out in this field someplace, I'm guessing, but you never really know. Being up high on the tractor helps spot calves in tall grass, because that's where they're usually laying. Here are the cows down here in the far corner. I don't see any calf yet. Lots of places to hide. It's pretty simple. You look for the one that doesn't have a tag. These guys all got tags. All these little ones. We usually try to do this in the morning because the calves are usually with their moms getting their morning meal. And if you catch them snoozing right after their morning meal, they're easy to catch because it takes them a minute to really wake up. Sally's over here howling for her calf. She knows where it is. It's right over there. She's a good mom. Come see mom. Hilarie's over there waving to me. She found it. We stop a good distance away so that the calf maybe stays laying down and I don't have to chase it. Well, you guys are always complaining. Who's snoozing? Yeah. Into the cage you go. Here you go. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. You're spirited.
Your Jap name is Little Stevie.
It's a steer. Or it's a bull. Soon to be a steer. Hi, little guy. This will only take a few minutes. Then you'll be an it. We'll take him back up to the garage. Alright, guys. Watch out. Coming through. There we go. Come on. Alright, little guy. We'll have you back with mom in no time.
Oh, his foot's stuck. His foot is stuck. There you go.
We do dehorning, castration, tagging here in the shop because it's isolated from mom. If we did it out in the field, you know, it'd be a lot more stressful, I think, for everybody involved. And the tools are simple. We use the set of clippers to clip the hair off, and then we use an electric horn burner to burn the horns off. We give them lidocaine injections. They don't feel the horn burning. You could certainly tell if they could, they would hit the ceiling. We give them meloxicam for the longer term pain after dehorning and castration, and we use Blue Coat, which is an antifungal, antibacterial, over the wounds from dehorning and castration to make sure that infection doesn't get in. And we've never had a problem with infection from castration or dehorning. And then we use these simple tags, little tagger here. The number is the year, 22, followed by the number of the calf in that year, 05. It's the 5th calf of the year. And I'm not going to show the actual process. If you're interested as, you know, beginning farmer, you can go way back in the channel library and I have a video where I show the whole process. And then he goes back in the cage, all dehorned, tagged. He's now an it, and back out with mom. Oh, the cow's moved over to the laneway now. Got to reunite him with mom. He's here somewhere. Come on, little guy. His mom is 2008. It's her first calf. Where is she? She got a tag on her?
Yeah, she does. She's right there.
There's Mom, right there. Come see your calf. But everybody's always got to check the calf out after it comes back. Are you my calf? What did they do to you? Come on, here, let's get you to Mom. Mom is right here. There she is. This is your mom. There you go. You check them over, Mom. They'll settle down and eventually Mom will give the calf a drink. And then usually the calf winds up sleeping the rest of the day. I think it's some meloxicam makes them drowsy. And tomorrow they'll be up and around again. See you later, guys. After a hot streak, we got about an inch of rain last night. And it was much welcome. We'll get that grass growing again. Grass kind of stalled. Pretty soon we'll have ripe black raspberries, black caps as we called them when I was a kid. We're expecting 9 calves this year. That was the 5th one, all healthy. We've had 3 bulls that are now steers and 2 heifers so far. We're a little bit later than usual, it being late June. We like to calve in May, and it was our fault. We put the bulls in later than usual last year. We control breeding on our farm, and that's why we make the bulls into steers. Part of the reason anyway. They can get aggressive if you don't turn them into steers, and inbreeding is a problem. If you've got breeding that you can't control going on, you're not selecting for the best stock. So we turn them into steers so that they won't breed before they go to the butcher at 2 years old. We castrate at 2 or 3 days old. The calf we did was born the day before yesterday. I like to do it young. They're easier to catch. I think that they remember it less. I think it's less traumatic. We've done steers when we first started at up to 5 months old, and it seemed like a much more traumatic process both for us and for the animal. We castrate by cutting and pulling. I know that they're a steer when I'm done that way, and I've read some studies that said that the pain is shorter and less overall than banding them. And one of the problems we had with banding when I was younger is, you never know for sure whether you've gotten both testicles or not. And they're in some extended pain as things dry out and drop off. So that's the way we do it. And we dehorn for our safety. Our cows are pretty docile, but you never know, and that's why we dehorn. There are polled varieties of Dexters available, but we choose not to raise them because back in the line you've got Angus in there someplace to bring in the polled genetics. Dehorning really isn't that big a deal. We got to bring them in to tag them and castrate them anyway, so we dehorn. We have a couple cattle that have horns, and they have horns because we bought them that way, and I'm not going to dehorn a cow later on in its life. That's an awful process. You can find video of that using the scoops that they use to cut the horns off. Oh, it's bloody. Next we got to take care of this old thing. She's got a little bit of a problem. I raked and baled 10 acres of hay yesterday, and a wheel fell off of my rake. I had to go get my old John Deere rake as a backup. It's good to have a backup, but this rake works much better than the John Deere does, so I gotta fix it. She gets by on 3 wheels all right, but I'm afraid that the 4th one's gonna fall off too. I'll show you. What happened here is the wheel bearings went on this wheel, and it made the wheel come off. Clean it up a little bit and see what we got to work with here. This is a nut that holds the wheel bearings in place. And then there's a washer. Actually, there's 2 washers on that. And then this is what remains of the bearings. This is one of the bearing races here, and the remains of the bearing cage. And then the other bearing race is right here. I'm gonna have to file that off to get it out. Wheel bearings is one of those things, if you have a farm, you know how to deal with wheel bearings. You got about 1 million of them here to take care of. I didn't take care of these, it's my own fault. Looks like the spindle's okay. It's rough here because of all the looseness it had, but where the bearing races ride in, here and here, we're okay. This is the wheel hub that goes on here, like this. And inside this hub, you've got a seal here, which is really worn out, very bad. And then the outer races of the bearings, there's one in here and there's one in here, and these are pressed into the hub. And the inner races ride with the rollers on the bearings on here. So it's all shot. It needs a new seal, it needs new outer races that go inside the hub here. Those are all scored up. And it needs new bearings. I'm going to have to order parts. We'll jack this up and see how the other one is. I'm sure it's bad. Here's a really good way to tell if a wheel bearing's bad. I think that's bad. Maybe I can just tighten it up and get away with it. Nah. So here's the outer bearing on that one. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. But the tires, I would say they got at least 50 or 60,000 miles left on them. I'm going to take the seal and the outer races out of this hub. The seal was so bad that it folded out. Just cave it in and get it out of here. Now we can drive the races out. There's one race. See how pitted up that is? No good. She's a coming. There's the other race. She's bad too. I got everything cleaned up. Here are the hubs. They're all ready to go, both of them. Parts I'll reuse, and the old races and bearings. What a mess. I'll have to order some teeth for it too. I found these rubber ones. They don't last very long, so I've been gradually replacing it with the steel spring ones. This is a dolly rake. These are dolly wheels in the front. And I prefer dolly rakes over just two-wheeled rakes that go directly onto the tractor hitch here, because this will track closer on our rough ground and the rake bottoms out less. It follows the contours of the ground more. They're also known as hay crushers because these two wheels run in the hay. No big deal, the rake picks it all up. I'll order parts for that and put it together when the parts come. 2 or 3 days, I hope. I don't have to wait a couple days to put the rake back together. I called my local New Holland dealer and they had all the parts right there. I think in celebration I'll go through a door. First thing we want to do is put in the outer races for the new wheel bearings, and they sit in like that. And use the socket to set it in place. There we go. These are Timken bearings, nice. Then flip it over and put the other one in place. Really big sockets help with setting these, and driving seals. I pre-lube the bearing and put that in. The inner bearing. And then the seal goes on. Looking good in the neighborhood. And I'm just going to clean some of the surface rust off of this with a little bit of emery cloth. Lube the seal up real good. There we go. Yahoo-wee! No wobble. Then we got the 2 washers. Castle knot. We want to tighten this down so we just feel a little bit of drag on here, but not very much. That's pretty good right there. Put in the cotter pin to lock everything. And put the hubcap on. That is awesome. I got both hubs on this. Very nice. But before I put the wheels back on, I'm going to attend to this. These things take a beating and they loosen up after a while. The question is, will this come loose? Probably not. Put some double wrench action on it. See what that does. Well, this is kind of frustrating, I would say. Alright, I got that bolt out finally. And there's a bushing that goes in there that's replaceable. But let me show you what's going on under here. That ran loose, that bolt that I took out. I'm sorry about that. And it egged out this hole here. And not even the impact wrench will start to get this off. You know what? This is turning into a long day working on this rake. I finally got the hitch off. Dad's torches are over at his house, so I used a propane or a MAP gas torch to heat up that bolt and finally got it off. And this is what we're dealing with. These holes are all egged out here on both sides. So what I did was I cut some plate and lined up the hole in there so I can weld them in as a reinforcement and tighten the bolts back up so the hitch doesn't flop around anymore. Alright, I got these plates welded in. Don't pick on my welds. I'm not a very good welder. I know enough to just get by and cobble on things. But it'll hold. I'm sure it'll hold. Now is the moment of truth. We can put it on and see if it tightened it up at all. I don't expect it to be perfectly tight, but it should be a lot better than what it was. This is kind of a tricky maneuver here. Alright, I got these started. The bushing in the bolt runs through this plate here, and so it seats on the outside of this and holds everything together. So the bushing's actually what is supposed to be turning in this plate hole. It's not supposed to be spinning in here, but that's what happened to the other side as it loosened up. And I put new bolts in and we're going to tighten her up. Ugh. Ow. This is the kind of work where I get up in the morning tomorrow and I'm like, why am I sore there? I'm never sore there. You're doing all this kind of stuff. Oh, get off there. Why must you be so difficult? Alright, let's see how we did. No wobble now. Boy, I'm so accustomed to that wobble, I'm going to miss it when it's gone. It's had it ever since I bought it. This is my next job, painting the Bale wagon. Dad's all finished with it, and I used it to haul some hay out of the fields yesterday. It worked good. All it needed to be added was these end stops here, so I can put the bales right over to the end. But otherwise, man, sure is great being able to bring the bales up on a wagon more than 3 at a time. This was one of those days where the day gets away from you. You know, we caught the calf, and then I thought that the hay rake, I'd just take it apart and order parts, but since they had parts, I spent the rest of the day working on the hay rake. That's just life. I try to put a variety of things in the videos, but sometimes that doesn't work out and I get focused on one thing. You know that happens. That happens to everybody. Tomorrow's job is to paint this hay wagon, and I haven't made up my mind whether it's going to be John Deere green or red. I haven't gotten the paint yet, so And I'm trying to make up my mind. I know I said it was going to be John Deere green, but oh, I just don't know if I can live with myself if I do that. So stay tuned for the next video and you'll find out which color I pick, as well as I need to bring you up to speed on our haymaking and grazing and show you the little piglets. I never got around to that. They're doing great. There's still 8 of them. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.